Hey there, this is James Wilson with MTB Strength Training Systems and BikeJames.com. Today I want to share a tip about using kettlebells to help improve your wrist strength. And this is something I've posted on a few times, specifically talking about doing bottoms up stuff where you're holding the kettlebell upside down. But just in general, I wanted to talk about some advantages of using kettlebells for wrist and grip strength and just some of the things that you're looking for. So just on your everyday exercises like your presses and your get-ups and just holding your kettlebell in your rack position, what we're looking for. So, just show you real quick, pull the kettlebell up, and you can see I've got my wrist in a good, strong, almost straight. We're not looking for perfectly straight, and I'll talk about that more here in just a second, but you know, pretty much a neutral position. What we don't want is to let the wrist get pulled back and hold the kettlebell like this. So when you get to the top of your presses, you don't want to have your wrist bent back. You definitely don't want to be doing your get-ups with your wrist bent back, because it's hard on the wrist. You're putting a lot of strain on the tendons and compressing things in there that don't like to be compressed. And it also makes you weaker. Since it's not as solid, you're not going to be able to produce as much strength in driving into the kettlebell and lifting the weight. Because you know, if you have a weak link here, then it's going to make everything else not be able to work as hard. So you got to make sure that that's nice and strong. Now the other thing that makes this cool is it's very specific to what we're looking for as riders. Now, you can see I've got the kettlebell resting across my palm like this. I don't have my wrist straight. Like I mentioned, there's a little bit of a bend, and the reason for that is if we keep our wrist perfectly straight, the kettlebell is going to end up hanging off of our thumb. If we let it bend a little bit, we're going to be able to hold it on our palm a little bit. So again, on our bikes, that's what we're looking for when we're getting in you know, our upper body position and our wrist position on the bike, is looking for the handlebars to be in a similar position across the palm there with a little bit of a bend, so we're not just hanging on the thumb, but we are able to get onto the palms a little bit, but then just holding that strong, like keeping stable in that position right there. So that the wrist position that we get from the kettlebell training just on an everyday basis is, again, very specific to what we're looking for as riders. And so we all know that grip strength and you know, wrist stability is very important as riders. But it's one of those things, who has time to do a lot of stuff that, you know, specifically addresses that? So that's one of the reasons that I really love kettlebell training, is because every rep of presses, get-ups, anything you're holding it in the rack position, you're also building that wrist strength and you know, wrist position that you're looking for on the bike. So anyway, so hopefully you found these tips to be helpful. Pay attention to your wrist position when you're doing your kettlebell training. It's very important. It's one of those things that's very easy to overlook, but you know, it's the details that really matter. So make sure you're paying attention to that. So once again, it's been James Wilson with MTB Strength Training Systems. You can check me out on the web at BikeJames.com. You can also check out my MTB Kettlebell Conditioning program at mtbkettlebellconditioning.com and see more about how I use kettlebells to address the unique demands of trail riding.